How many of you are dragging ass today because you were up until 12:30 last night watching the Rams and the Chiefs play absolutely no defense whatsoever? How many of you, honestly? Now, how many of you watched that game last night and your reaction was, that was the greatest game I've ever seen? Sil, what's going on, brother? Good to see you joining us in the YouTube chat room. How many of you said it? I mean, how many of you tweeted it out? How many of you went on Facebook or social media? How many of you classified last night's game as the best game that you've ever seen, that you got your money's worth? Raise your hand, because there was a lot of you there. And the reason I ask is because that was the most entertaining football game that we have ever seen. An instant classic from an entertaining standpoint. As far as a football game goes, that was the biggest bag of shit game I have ever seen in my entire life. I couldn't have been less impressed with the football in that game. Entertaining? Hell yeah. If you like scoring, and I mean, what'd they put up? 104 points. If you guys love scoring, that game was about as entertaining as you can get. You are not going to get 3.5 hours, 4 hours of better entertainment than what you got. You don't even have to be a diehard football fan. If you guys watched that game last night, then you got definitely some entertainment value on a Monday night. It's just a shame you have to watch it with the sound off, because between Jason Witten rather, and Booger McFarland and Joe Tessitore, I just basically want to take, you guys ever have corn on the cob and you take those things that you put on the end of the corn, right, so you can eat it? Those are the things. I don't even know, what do you call them? Corn what? Something corn. I want to take it and I want to shove it in my ears every time the three of them open their damn mouth. So it's unfortunate we didn't have a better crew to actually enjoy the game with, but we deal with what we have to deal with on Monday Night Football. But I thought that was one of the worst football games I had. It was actually probably the worst football game I have ever seen. And maybe it's just me, but the idea that, and when you look at the numbers, let me make sure I have the numbers correct here. All right, because I don't want to miss anything, but because it was staggering what had happened there and the amount of points last night. If you guys didn't hear, and you guys didn't hear Joe Tessitore say it about 342 times, that was the most points ever scored on a Monday night game. I don't know why I don't have the numbers here in front of me, and I apologize for that. But needless to say, they broke just about every offensive record in the world. They scored 105 points. I mean, it was terrible. Oh, here it is. I apologize for that. Let's see what we got here. 6 lead changes, 4 in the fourth quarter. 2 teams combined for 1,001 yards, 105 points, third most ever scored in a single game. The over hit with 2 minutes and 24 seconds left in the third. It was exceeded by 41 points. The over-under went off at 64, which is the highest for any game since 1986. It keeps going on and on and on, the amount of records that were broken in this game. And I'm sorry. Yes, if you like offense, it was great. But that was not football last night. Not to me, anyway. Not to, and I kept saying as I'm watching it with my father last night, and I'm going, somewhere along the line, if I'm Lawrence Taylor or Mike Singletary, if I'm anybody, any member of the 85 Bears who still knows who they are, if I'm Carl Banks, or if I'm the Giants defense, I'm looking at that game last night and I'm going, you've got to be kidding me. Like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm all for offense being really good and high-powered, and I get that. But neither one of those teams defensively can stop anybody. And instead of watching what I felt like was an NFL game, I felt like I was watching MAC action football, which we're going to get to a little bit later here in the show. I felt like it was Tecmo Bowl, and everybody was using, Bo Jackson to score a touchdown every time, and that wasn't football to me. I mean, I love it, But the problem with the NFL is that it's getting to the point where we're getting more and more of these 40, 50-point games, and they're becoming less exciting to me because they're happening more and more often. I don't know if that makes sense to you. The reason that I love 75, 85, 95-yard two-play touchdown drives, the reason those are so exciting is because they don't happen very often. At least they didn't. But now they're happening all the time. And that's an issue for me. I mean, this doesn't resemble, from the amount of penalty flags thrown last night, the roughing the passer calls, the ticky-tack fouls. Nothing about the NFL today resembles anything about the game that I fell in love with. And I want to know from you guys if I'm the only one here. I mean, did you guys truly think that was a great game last night, a football game? I know it was entertaining, but I mean, were you expecting any sort of defense? It just, to every great defensive player that ever played the game, watching that last night had to be nauseating, had to be one of the hardest things in the world to do. The Denver Broncos a few years ago. How about the Ravens? If you're Ray Lewis and you're Ed Reed and you're the Ravens, watching those two teams go at it like that and play and just lay down and play no defense and have nothing, just to the point where whoever has the ball last is going to win. I mean, that's fun every now and then, but to me, it's happening way too often in the NFL, and I think if that's the direction the league is going, eventually it's going to do more harm than good, because I do think you're going to turn off more people in the long run than you will maybe introduce into the game.